Bliss, bliss, bliss. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Rissa Vibes here, aka Readings by Rissa. So excited to connect with you as always. Today is a brand new Sunday reading. I know for all of you out there that are used to my weekly readings, we usually do them at 1:11 p.m. Central Time, but this week and next week as well, actually, we're going to be doing them a little bit earlier because I'm out of town visiting my family for the holidays, and I've got a lot going on, lots of things to fit into my schedule. So it worked out better for me to be able to do it a little earlier today and next week as well. So we'll be tapping in for the weekly readings today and next week at 10:10 a.m. in Central Time. So super excited for all of you who are joining here and who got the memo and found out that I would be joining live. I did post it on my Instagram and on the community page of this channel. So hopefully you got that notification. And for future reference, everyone, I always post announcements in the community tab of this channel. So if I ever change the time of a live reading or if there's ever any special announcements, I always do my best to put it in on the comment or on the community tab. So that's always a really great thing to check on. If you tune in and you don't see me at my normal time, definitely check the community tab on this channel so that you can get those updates. But just another reminder, just like today, 10:10 a.m. Central, we're going to do the same thing next week for the live weekly reading then. I know some of you are used to now me switching back and forth between pre-recorded and lives. It's really just based on my schedule and whatever I'm able to do. I try my best to do it live because I really do enjoy that process a little bit more. But I also do the pre-recorded sometime because it's, it's just more convenient. I've been really busy, lots of things changing and shifting right now in my personal life and in my business life, which is all great. But with that, also just kind of navigating new schedule changes and things like that. So thank you all for being flexible today and next week for the weekly reading. I'm super excited to tap into the energy of this week. We have a ton of things to talk about. We have a full moon in Cancer in a couple of days that is really, really powerful. We just had that great conjunction last week. We had the winter solstice last week as well. We also had Christmas last week. We're going to talk all about the energy from last week as it moves into this week. And we're also going to dive into some new energy that we are feeling as we approach the new year. We're in the last week of the new year, of 2020. Right before the new year. This is amazing. Comment and let me know how all of you are feeling, where you're tuning in from, how you're doing today, how was your holiday. I'm super excited to tap in. And as you go ahead and comment and let me know how you're feeling, feel free to take a couple deep breaths, get nice and centered, nice and relaxed. Feel into your body, feel into your harmony of mind, body, and spirit, and let's get ready for this weekly reading. So, let's always start with a review of last week. It's always nice to review the energy of last week to see where we left off. So last week, in the beginning of the week, I pulled the Presence of Absence card. This was a card letting us know that whatever was absent in our life, we want to hold it in our mind, we want to hold it in our hearts, and we want to start to manifest it by believing that it can come through in our life, that it can come to fruition. So anything that you felt you were lacking or feel void of, this was a time for you to really set the tone of manifestation by holding it in your mind and believing that it can come into your life. Then in the middle of the week card, we had the Saint and Sinner card, which was all about our duality, understanding the parts of us that were being riled up from our shadow, and also the parts of us that were being riled up in our Christ consciousness ascension and activation. We had a lot of that energy for the winter solstice and the Great Conjunction, tapping into our Christ consciousness, and with Christmas as well, of course. We had that Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, which was really this beautiful star astrological event. Hopefully all of you got to see it because it was really beautiful to see that elongated star. And it was this kind of the same star as the Star of Bethlehem. So this was a really great opportunity for us to activate that Christ consciousness. And then at the end of the week, we had the proper burial for freedom. This was allowing us to let go of what no longer serves us and to really bury it away, to clear it, to release it, to cut the cords and let the old be the old so that the new can be the new as we approach this new year. And then I did pull a winter solstice / Great Conjunction card last week, and that card was surrender. And let me tell you, I felt that one. I hope y'all felt that one too, because I definitely needed a lot of surrendering last week. I had to surrender a lot of my needs to control certain things, my schedule, my plan for the future. It was really about just honoring this energy of surrendering to the most divine order and divine timing of all things, knowing that Source has our back, knowing that the universe is guiding us divinely, knowing that God is protecting us, and we were standing strong in that ability to surrender and to have more faith over fear, like I talked about last week. So hopefully you all embodied that in any tests that you had of that kind of faith versus fear energy. So, with all of that being said, let's see who's joining us today. Super excited to see everybody. We've got Marie is here. Good to see you, Marie. Robbie's here as well. Leslie's here. Hello, sis. Doing so well, Marie. Thank you for asking. Jaden, my little bro, is here. He was going to try to join today and sit next to me, but he was sleeping in. I totally understand. It's Sunday and it's on his Christmas break. So I'm glad that you're still here, Jaden. Thanks for joining. Saints Affairs is here. Let's see, Marie's from Tampa, Florida. Saints Affairs from Atlanta. Higher Holistic is here. Marie also felt that surrender card. Nico's here all the way from AZ, my usual producer for these things. So thanks for joining as well, Nico. All right, so let's go ahead and tap into this week, okay? Because there's a lot going on. I am joining you from my auntie's house because I could not sit in the gazebo outside back at home because it's just too cold. So I really like this like yellow energy though. It's like very joyful and happy. And that's really what the energy is for this year to come in 2021, especially compared to 2020. So I'm here to tell you that 2021 is going to be a little bit brighter. I will say that it's going to have its own challenges. We're going to get into that as well on New Year's Day. I'm going to do a whole New Year's Day reading, which I always do every year, where I pull a card for every single month of the year. So we're definitely going to do that on New Year's Day. Mark it in your calendar. It's going to be at, I believe I said 11:11 a.m. Central Time. So mark that in your calendar for New Year's Day, 11:11 a.m. Central Time, live for a reading on the entire year. But I'm jumping ahead. Let's jump right into the spirit messages of this week because that's really what we're here for. We want to focus on this week, the last week of 2020. What an intense year it has been, and how beautiful is it to be able to say that we are almost done with 2020. Moving on to a new energy, a new vibe, and a new 20-year cycle, which is really exciting. So the first message that I have for this week, which is 12/27, which is today, all the way till January 3rd, 2021. The first message is about manifestation. Now, I know I've been drilling in this message about manifestation so much lately, especially over the last few months, but it's seriously been building momentum intensely, especially these last few weeks of the year. And it's a really powerful energy that I've been feeling with manifestation. It's a little bit different than usual. This time, this week, and a little bit last week as well, you may have noticed as we creeped into this week, is that the manifestations that we've set in our heart, that we've set in our mind, that we've started to bring into our physical reality, they're phasing in and out. They're phasing in and out. They're a little bit unstable. The reason why they're unstable is because they're in the most crucial point of the manifestation phase, which is that place where it's really starting to come into fruition. It's starting to ground in. It's starting to come out of the ether that you've created in your mind, your thoughts, your visualizations, your prayers, your belief, your faith. All of these abstract aspects of your manifestation are starting to come into more concrete form in the physical. Why is this happening? Because you've asked for what you want. Source then instantly gives it to you, but you also don't usually get it right away because you have to receive it. Abraham Hicks talks about this all the time. Getting into the receiving mode, allowing yourself to actually receive what you've asked for from Source. And in that process, you have to stand in your faith. You have to believe that it can happen. And if you're not believing that it can happen, or your belief or your faith is phasing in and out, then the manifestation of it becoming real will also phase in and out. This is happening for a lot of people. So you may have been in a situation where, you're trying to get a promotion at work. you got the application, the job opened up, you applied, and then maybe you're starting to feel like, okay, I'm on the verge of getting it, but maybe there's this other person that might get it over me, and what's going to happen? Am I going to actually get the promotion? So these are these energies of it kind of phasing in and out, where you can feel that it's really close to manifesting, but it's just not quite there yet. And there's a couple of things that are in the way. These can be things externally in your experience, in your environment, in the situation that is showing up, or this can be resistance internally, okay? Whatever it is, it's all based on your faith and your belief. And it's also incredibly based on the divine timing and divine order that Source, God, the universe is allowing things to be expressed in, because that energy, source energy, knows way more than we know about what's best for us and what's best for our path and what we're going to experience in the future based on the decisions we make or the things that we manifest in our life. So we have to have that element of surrender that we talked about last week. We have to have that element of faith over fear. And we have to stand strong in that vibration, because if we don't, we will notice that there will be things that are phasing in and out, kind of like a tease from the universe saying, dangling the carrot, saying, okay, it's right here. Are you going to actually manifest it, or is it going to stay a dream or a fantasy? And that, it really depends on if you believe it can be real. So if you think what you're manifesting is just, a fantasy, it's just a dream, it's never going to happen, then you're going to see that shows up in your actual experience, okay? So shift your faith into a higher level of confidence if you're feeling like your manifestations are starting to fade or starting to phase in and out, okay? Really remember that. And I encourage you to watch last week's reading if you missed it, about the faith over fear energy and all the other things that happen with the solstice, because that great conjunction and solstice energy is going to affect us for months. Okay, we especially had that solar eclipse, which is affecting us as well for months, up to 6 months. So we're going to have a lot of this energy really flowing through, and we want to be really keen on how we're manifesting it into the physical. Now, a part of manifestation and a part of asking for things that you really want in your life, asking for blessings, asking for abundance, asking for prosperity, a part of that also includes tiny deaths. Yes, tiny deaths. It's not too morbid, I promise, but it is something that we definitely experience. And what I mean by tiny deaths is that we literally start to feel parts of ourselves or parts of our life die and fade away. This is because certain things in our life and within ourselves have to clear when we ask for certain things at a certain level. Because if we're asking for immense abundance and prosperity and opportunity, and then we end up having kind of a feeling of, our lack mentality popping up and getting really ferocious, really strong, and then we start to feel ourselves say, no lack mentality. I believe in this abundance. I believe in these blessings I'm asking for. I believe that this can happen. Then you start to notice that lack mentality starts to die. And it can feel a little bit uncomfortable, because if you're used to worrying about money, if you're used to being in the survival mode, if you're used to being, pessimistic about your relationship with money, then you're going to feel that uncomfortability of letting go of those habits. And it's going to feel like a tiny death, even though it's something that you probably want, right? You want your lack mentality to die and wither away. It still may be uncomfortable because it's something that you've gained comfort in for so long. And this can also include people in your life that are pessimistic about money, or that are always telling you to worry about money or fueling that energy within you. Those relationships may start to fade away and wither away as well. So this is just an example of how these tiny deaths can show up after we've asked for great abundance, opportunity, love, manifestations that we've asked for our life, okay? So notice how you're having your own tiny deaths from what you've asked for. And if you're feeling like you're really struggling, or if you're feeling like you've just been almost feeling attacked or just incredibly tested by Source and by the universe and by your life, then this is probably what you're experiencing. You're probably being tested because of something that you've asked to manifest in your life. And in order to actually manifest those things, you've got to pass those tests, or you've got to allow those tiny deaths to help you move into the energy you've actually asked to be in. Okay, let me know if this makes sense. Feel free to comment below if you have any questions on this, or if there's anything that you want me to dive into a little bit more on this. But this is definitely something that's huge for us. And those tests, how we respond to them and how we respond to the tiny deaths, is really going to be the determining factor of how our manifestations come into fruition, and if they come into fruition. So we want to respond with a sense of drive and dedication and commitment. This is where we came from last week when I said jump all in, go all in, lean all in. Because if we're feeling those tests, if we're feeling those tiny deaths, we need to allow them. And we need to know that it's time for us to step into our strength, our resilience, our ability to prove to ourselves and to the universe that we want this. We want what we've been manifesting, no matter what it means to clear away parts of ourselves. We are willing to do that work because we want it that bad. We've got to grab that kind of gusto within us and use it to fuel us forward, okay? So the tiny deaths are beautiful. Allow them. Don't fight them. Don't resist them. Lean in. Remember, lean in, lean in, lean in. I've been saying it over and over for the past few weeks because it's truly the best way to handle these things, okay? Now, on top of that, we also are going to feel a lot of emotions, a lot of intensity, a lot of sensitivity to our emotional body. We may have, bouts of crying, or bouts of anger, or bouts of shadow expression, or just bouts of isolation. And in that, we're really finding ways to learn how we react to change, how we react to challenge and contrast, and also how we react to stepping up in our sovereign power and standing firm in who we know we are, and allowing ourselves to go through the process of expressing that. So in that, I encourage everybody to let the energy you're feeling flow through you. Okay, flow through you. We are permeable beings. Our cells are so tiny and minuscule, and they have so much space in between them. If you know anything about biology or anatomy, you know that our body, our physical vessel, is mostly water, and it's got a lot of space. Our cells don't actually touch. We have all of this space in between ourselves, and even though we seem solid, we're actually very permeable because of that. And permeable meaning things can pass through us easily if we allow them to. If we allow them to. And how we allow them to pass through us is by remembering that they can pass through us, that it's okay to let them pass through us, and that we can allow them to pass through without holding on to an emotion or to a thought or to a negative experience that we don't want to hold on to. It's that need to cling to it, to define it, to figure it out, to fight it, to resist it. It's those things that keep that energy stuck and stagnant in our body. If we allow the energy to move through us instead of fight it or try to push it away or try to ignore it, then it's going to be a lot more graceful of a process. The best way to let that energy move through you is to know that it's okay to feel things. It's okay to feel things in depth. It's okay to feel things in intensity. It's okay to feel things in an uncomfortable way. And that is the emotional intuition within you and the emotional sensitivity within you that is activating and awakening. If we try to fight that, we're actually pinching ourselves off from a very beautiful gift that we can learn to hone and appreciate and harmonize with. Now, I truly feel like breath work in every form is my way of letting energy pass through me. A lot of times I'll just breathe really deeply for only a couple of minutes when I'm having an intense emotion or an intense experience. And that alone, I can feel the energy of that intensity move through me and away, instead of stuck in my body or stuck in my mind, stuck in my heart, making me feel chaotic, right? So I really like breath work. You can do breath work in a very intense, traditional way where you're doing like the Wim Hof method, or you're doing the breath of fire, you're doing breath work sequences for, a 30-minute, time period every day. Or you can just take some deep breaths whenever you're feeling intense emotion and imagine that energy passing through you instead of getting stuck within the body. And remember, our December card from the annual reading that I pulled last year was stagnation. That's a big part of it, is allowing energy to pass through us. If we don't allow energy to pass through us, or the intensity of our experiences, or the tiny deaths that we're experiencing, or the tests that we're experiencing, if we don't let that stuff pass through us, then we will feel more stagnant internally. We will have a stagnation of energy that doesn't feel good. And remember, a few weeks ago, I did a weekly reading about the many different forms of stagnation. So I've been talking about this all month. I definitely encourage all of you to revisit some of those videos of the last 3 weeks for this entire month of December, because all of those weekly readings have definitely brought in a good big picture perspective of what we're experiencing right now, and can really allow you to feel more supported, comforted, and help you navigate through whatever you're going through with more grace. Okay, so let the energies move through you, allow the heightened sensitivity of your emotions, don't fight it. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about that heightened sensitivity, because we are activating some pretty amazing qualities about ourselves. I know that I was on Twitter and I was seeing a lot of people posting about how they're getting their superpowers on the Great Conjunction last week, and there was like this whole kind of momentum around getting your superpowers on 2021. And I loved that. I thought that was so cute that people who weren't, all the way aware of what's going on energetically, at least knew that the Great Conjunction was bringing in some kind of superpower quality. And it made me think of, superheroes and Marvel movies and all of that stuff. And I really love that analogy, because it's something that I use in my life all the time, where when I'm going through something, a challenge, or even when I'm just feeling really good, I kind of imagine myself as a superhero, because I'm like, okay, this is that part of the movie where, the superhero just gets their superpowers. They just realize they have superpowers. And in that realization, they start to play with it. They start to learn about what their superpowers can do. But it's not always easy, right? Most of the time in those Marvel movies, they're really awkward with their powers. They end up causing a lot of destruction at first. They end up, causing a lot of issues in their personal life because of it. They start feeling a little bit, embarrassed and insecure at first and feeling awkward. All of that awkward phase happens when they get their superpowers. And so I want everyone to kind of use this analogy in their own lives to understand how we're moving through this change, because the Great Conjunction did bring us some superpowers, especially if you've been doing the work. If you've been doing the spiritual work to harmonize your body, mind, and spirit, to tap into your intuitive qualities and gifts, to start to learn how to manifest miracles in your life, then you are truly experiencing some amazing superpower quality right now, because you've put the work in to do so. If you've released things out of your life that don't serve you, etc. But if you haven't done the work, then you most likely are going through those tiny deaths still. You're going through those tests still in order to earn that ability to activate your superpowers, your superpower gifts, okay? But let's keep this in mind. We're realistic. We're here in the 3D world, moving into 5D. We're not going to be, moving things with our mind yet, or, phasing in and out and invisible, or flying, to jump on top of buildings and stuff. As cool as that would be, I would love to live in a superhero movie. I think that would be super fun. But we also have to recognize that these superpowers that we gained from the Great Conjunction are more subtle. We need to pay attention to how they've shown up in a subtle way. Are you more intuitive? Are you feeling more telepathic with people that you're connected to? Are you feeling more light and strong and confident? Are you feeling more multidimensional, aware of your past lives and your present life and your future lives and your cosmic self and all of these other aspects of you? Are you having more conversations with your guides? Are you feeling more of that presence? Are you feeling more empathic and intuitive in that way? Are you having dreams and premonitions of what's happening and what's to come? These are superpowers. These are parts of you that are awakening, that represent these amazing superpower qualities. Now, with that, we want to remember that superpowers don't mean that life is going to be easy. In fact, in those superhero shows, we see that once they find their superpowers, it can get really intense and complex. So remember that it's okay. It's okay to have a little awkward phase. It's okay to feel a little overwhelmed by the shifts that you've been feeling. It's okay to be excited about the new gifts that you're stepping into and the new abundance and the new miracles you're manifesting, but also to feel a little nervous and scared and, awkward in that transition as you get used to it and adapt. Just know that this is normal, and it takes continued work to master and hone those superpower gifts and to really use them for the best case scenario for your purest positive potential. So give yourself time, be patient, be kind to yourself, and know that it's normal if you're feeling really excited about these new intense intuitive qualities, or just new intense leadership skills, or just amazing exciting inspiration, but maybe you're feeling a little overwhelmed, because it is definitely natural and normal. And it's always worth it, even though things can get chaotic with that, even though this shift did cause some big kind of intense moments and energies, especially from last week with that conjunction. Even though we are feeling that, it's worth it. It's worth it. Give it time. Give it time to integrate. Give it time to harmonize. Give yourself time to adjust. And I promise you, it's going to be so beautiful. And you're going to learn what you can do with all these superpowers and all the things that you're manifesting. And again, if you haven't been feeling that yet, then allow yourself to go through the tests you need to go through. Allow yourself to go through some of the, influx of up and down roller coasters emotionally. Have the tiny deaths you need to. Keep doing the work to stay aligned to your highest source energy and your highest self. And I promise you, you will also feel the superpowers that everybody's talking about, okay? Now, in this, we're also having to have a lot of patience. This is our limbo period where we're in between worlds. I'll use the superpower analogy again because it's still very relevant. This energy of recognizing going from normal to supernatural, right? And this is that energy of being in one place, a state of being, an older state of being, an outdated state of being normal, or, just your own kind of human self. And then the new world, new energy of being supernatural, of being, activated in your highest self, your Christ consciousness, your superpower qualities, okay? In between that is a limbo stage where you're transitioning from the old into the new. And that is going to require a lot of patience, because a lot of you, and me included, are feeling the manifestation of the things that we want and of our superpower qualities and of all of the success we're going to have as a result of it, but it's not quite here yet. And so it can be frustrating when you feel like it's on the verge of happening, or you're so close, or it's slowly happening, but it's just not quite all the way aligned yet. Be patient. Don't try to force. Don't try to control. Remember to surrender, just like we had in last week's card reading. Surrender, surrender, surrender with this great shift, because Source has its own divine timing and order in mind, and it is protecting you by allowing you to slowly adapt to the changes instead of just throwing you into it. Because if it's overwhelming now as you're slowly adapting, imagine how overwhelming and chaotic it could be if you were just thrown into everything at once. That would really probably cause you to shut down and maybe have you have a less than positive experience with all the things that you've been wanting in your life or manifesting in your life. So we want that time. We want to adjust slowly. We want to be patient, and we want to know that that's what makes it graceful, okay? Let me know how everybody's doing on these messages. Let me know how you're resonating. So again, patience. And what I've been getting for this week as well is that things are about to start to move really quickly. I know that we've been having that stagnation energy on and off in December, but trust me, when 2021 hits, we're going to feel things take off. We are going to fly. It's time to fly. We're approaching that. We're seeing things being liberated and ourselves being liberated from parts of our own energy that have been holding us back from our purest positive potential. We're also seeing that in relationships and environments, locations we've been in for a long time, things that we need to do to move energy being activated so that we can take off and fly into our highest selves. This is part of that superhero quality again, when they learn how to fly, and how exciting it is when you do, and how awkward it can be as you learn. So just trust that that's what we're doing here in our own energetic way. And if you can look at it that way, it can be more fun, more adventurous, and a little bit more motivating than, discouraging. Okay, so don't get into a discouraging attitude. Stay patient. Things will move when they're meant to. Don't get too obsessed with trying to control or force it. Okay, super important. Now, Christ consciousness I talked about last week. I'm going to talk a little bit about it again this week because it's super important to feel into more of it since we just activated it on this last week. It's going to continue to unfold. It's going to continue to evolve and build momentum, this Christ consciousness within us, if we choose it. Remember, I asked you last week, will you align? Will you choose to align with the Christ consciousness available to you? Or are you going to choose to stay aligned to that 3D energy, that very, kind of worldly energy? I encourage you to align with Christ consciousness because it's here for us and it will perform miracles in our life, and it allows us to stay so connected to source. It feels so good to feel our divine self completely connected to the divine essence of source, and how many things we can do, and how much we can serve the world, and how much we can serve others through that Christ consciousness energy. Now, in this week's part of Christ consciousness, I want to ask you again a question. I want to know, what does Christ consciousness actually mean to you? We all have a different definition of it, and most of the time our definition of it is intuitively guided because it's unique unto us. Our Christ consciousness, because we're all unique and we are all an extension of source, our own unique Christ consciousness is going to express itself through us in a unique way. So my expression of Christ consciousness may be quite different from your expression of Christ consciousness or your definition of it. So I encourage you to ask yourself, what does Christ consciousness mean to you? I love Robbie's answer, pure love. So, so powerful. For me, it is oneness, the oneness of all, being able to feel into all of the things in this world, the plants, the trees, the ground, the weather, the people walking around of all different races and cultures and colors and characteristics and personalities, feeling oneness with all of that, with the wildlife, with everything, even the material things that we have, right? Because these things were made by people who were connected to source, even no matter how connected they were, right? They're still an extension. So we want to appreciate this energy of divine connection to Christ consciousness. And for me, it's oneness, also unconditional love. Yes, I love that, Nico. Definitely something I wrote down as well. Just this energy of pure love, unconditional love, not judging people, not putting people down, not creating or creating like, perspectives of people or things or situations that are just mean, right? Or just not from a state of love. Like, I see so much judgment in the world, especially in 2020, with so many different opposing perspectives. We had the election with all that opposition. We had people, with the pandemic. Are you a mask wearer? You are not mask wearer? Are you pro-vaccine or anti-vaccine? Like, all these contrasts of opinion have caused people to really step out of love and into more judgment and criticism. But when we recognize that we're all one and we're all in this together, we start to tap into more of that unconditional love and compassion for all and oneness with all. And to me, that is Christ consciousness. And I love all of your definitions. And I encourage you to keep going deeper, dive deeper. What does that unconditional love mean to you? What does that essence look like to you? How would you see that expressed in the world if everybody felt that same way? Start to envision this, because that's what we're doing uniquely as luminaries in this world at this time. We chose to be here for a reason. And one of the best ways that we can start to serve the world is by imagining the world activated in their highest potential, in their Christ consciousness, and to really envision that happening, because that is powerful. Thoughts become things. Thank you, Abraham Hicks, again. She's amazing. I encourage you to check her out and listen to her amazing lectures and channelings, because honestly, all of that stuff is serious tools for our survival right now. So allow yourself to tap into your definition of Christ consciousness, and recognize also how your human mind, your egoic mind, or your shadow self may try to rebel against the Christ consciousness that you're stepping into, or against your definition of Christ consciousness. Maybe you start to embody that definition of Christ consciousness and you start to get some tests because your mind is starting to fight you on it. Or maybe you have other people outside of you who are trying to fight you on it because they're seeing that energy within you and they're not comfortable with it. These are things to recognize and to know that there is some rebellion to Christ consciousness. And if we can identify any rebellion within ourselves, we usually start to clear that same rebellion with that light of awareness. And it will also affect our external reality if we're having some rebellion against it from other people or outside influences, okay? This is a powerful, beautiful way to alchemize energy. Yes, Abraham Hicks, Marie. Abraham Hicks is who I was encouraging you to listen to. Abraham Hicks. She's amazing. All right, so the next message is don't feed the beast. Okay, I was just talking about how our human mind tends to rebel, and I really encourage you to not feed the beast of that rebellion, not feeding the beast of negative thoughts or bad habits that don't serve you, or your shadow side that keeps coming up during this shadow work period. And I'm going to be doing a new live on shadow work on my OnlyFans very soon. I'll be posting it on the community page, but make sure you just subscribe to my OnlyFans for free, because you'll see it as soon as it posts if you do that. But this energy of not feeding those things, not feeding the triggers or the negative programming from media that you're gaining. These are important aspects of keeping that Christ consciousness strong and not allowing that worldly, beastly, shadowy, dark energy to cloud or clog that kind of flow of Christ consciousness. So I imagine kind of a monster. That's why I said don't feed the beast, because when I'm having a, moment of a human moment, right? Because we all have human moments and we need to have that, because in our human moments, we're able to see more awareness of what we need to work on, where our weak points are, and where we can kind of strengthen ourselves. And when I have a human moment, whether it's like an outburst, an angry outburst, or just a slew of negative thoughts, or, some triggers that show up, I immediately imagine like either a monster that is that energy or experience, or I imagine like this volcano or this like tornado of negative energy kind of building as I feed that energy. If I continue to give it power, if I continue to give more negative thoughts to the negative thoughts I've already had, if I react in a negative way, or react instead of respond to a trigger, if I start to believe the negative programming that I see on media, or if I start to allow my shadow side to just run rampant with no control, these are ways that we feed the beast. So we have to make sure that we don't allow those things to happen, that we don't continue to feed negative energy into negative experiences, because that's us feeding the beast, and that beast does not need fed, because if it gets fed, it's going to get stronger. It's going to overpower us. It's going to break out of its cage and cause some serious destruction. So we've got to starve that energy whenever we see it show up. So don't feed the beast, okay? And I encourage you to have a little fun with this. Like, imagine what that monster would look like if it was personified, and start to pull away from it. Start to use that as that visualization you need to say, okay, I'm not going to feed this monster. I'm going to back away, and I'm going to go back within myself. I'm going to take some deep breaths. I'm going to let the energy move through me, and I'm going to remember I'm a superhero and I can conquer this beast. I'm not going to give it power over me, okay? Love this. It's so powerful for all of you to be here, because I think this is so important for us to be talking about. Yes, Kevin's here saying he's been tested as a Scorpio for repeatedly lately. I totally understand you. Those tests are here, but trust me, they're making you stronger, okay? So a nice way to stay in flow, and that can be really easy every single day, a nice practice is to first of all stay hydrated. Where's my Hydro Flask? I just got this for Christmas. I asked for a Hydro Flask for Christmas because I'm like, I need something that I can carry around all the time and drink water. So stay hydrated. Stretch often, because what stretching does, it allows the body to open up. It allows any tension or any stagnant energy in the body to start to have the opportunity to be released by opening the body up, stretching the body, stretching the muscles. This allows for more space in between our cells, and thus allowing for us to be even more permeable to let things pass through us. Of course, the water helps to cleanse us and helps energy to stay moving through us during this intense change. And then the last thing, breathe. Like I said, that breath work, breathing deeply, letting the energy flow, letting the energy move through. And if you continue to do that every day, even if it's for just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or even if it's just real quick when you're feeling intense energy, I promise you, you're going to start to feel that flying energy. You're going to start to feel like you're flying. You're going to start to feel like your spirit is in a high vibration, that you're in a light energy and you're feeling good and you're moving through with grace. Okay. Now, the energy of this shift is also calling us to honor our truth. Our truth can sometimes be amazing, beautiful, divine, but sometimes our truth can be a little ugly and a little bit icky, especially if it's shadow truth, okay? But honor your truth. Trust the truth that you see. Trust that what you're seeing or feeling within you as true is actually true. And if it's a shadow side truth, then that's what you got to work on. You've got to work on clearing some of those shadows, right? You've got to tame that. If it's a positive truth, if it's a divine truth, if it's a higher self truth, you want to strengthen it. You want to lean into it. You want to live it more. You want to embody it more, okay? Because inauthenticity is fading away with 2021, because 2020 was all about 2020 vision. We were able to see through the illusions, see through the delusions, see through the programming, see through the veil. And now that we've seen those things, if we've really paid attention, then now 2021 is going to allow us to step into something way more authentic and real and necessary for our lives. It's allowing us to come back home to ourselves. This is happening in the mass collective as well. We're going to see how things that have been fake or fabricated are going to fade away. It's most likely going to get worse before it gets better, because we have to have it thrown in our face in order for us to really see the truth. But once we see the truth as a collective, that inauthenticity is going to fade away. And that's what 2021 is all going to be about. So this is going to be a powerful thing to observe. And so I encourage you to keep observing it as we continue experiencing it as it unfolds, okay? All right, a couple more spirit messages. I told you we had a lot to talk about. We're also going to get into the Cancer full moon next and some astrology highlights, so don't go anywhere. But this is really important because we're right in this last week of 2020. So I wanted to make sure that I was thorough with these messages because it's really important. We're starting a brand new 20-year cycle. Of course, 2020 was a part of that 20-year cycle, but it was more of a reset. 2021 is going to be where we're building from that reset, okay? So the next message is about Capricorn season. Happy birthday, Capricorns. And this is exciting because Capricorn energy, and I'm going to say it because Leslie's on here and her husband Stefan is a Capricorn, and we've had so many conversations about his intensity, and we call it the sign of the dick because it can be a little bit asshole-ish. It can be a little bit abrasive. Sorry, Capricorns out there who are listening. I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. Your energy can be a little abrasive, a little direct, and I'm sure you already know that. Most Capricorns do, and they wear it with pride because that's who they are, and it's beautiful because we need direct and assertive energy. We need sometimes something to be abrasive, to shake some things up. We need something like that, and that's really what Capricorn season is doing for us this year. It's allowing, and this week, it's allowing us to be assertive, be direct, have things kind of be pointed out to us in a little bit of an abrasive way so that we really pay attention. And if we don't have that kind of wake-up call sometimes, or we don't have that kind of, awareness of contrast, we end up getting stuck and stagnant again. So this is a powerful energy. So shout out to all you Capricorns, signs of the dick. It's awesome. It's fine. Accept it. Love it. It's beautiful. And this can be snappy and feisty energy. So also learn how to harness it into the right things. Harness it into things that you know you need to be more assertive and direct in. If you need to set boundaries with people who are taking advantage of you, use that Capricorn energy. Be direct, be honest. And if you've got to be a little bit abrasive to get your point across, allow it, because that's part of what you need to do to wake that person up to say, hey, stop doing this to me, right? So these are things that can be really beneficial if we use them the right way. So shout out to all the Capricorns. I love all of you. I'm super grateful that you're here because your energy is so important, especially right now. Now, with this, we want to also set the tone for the new year, okay? My next message is really focusing on what do you really want? And I think that Capricorn season is perfect for this as well, because it's kind of the astrology's way of being really direct with us and assertive with us by saying, you know, hey, these manifestations are phasing in and out right now. What do you actually want? Do you want what you've been experiencing that's more comfortable for you? Or do you really want this new miracle in your life you've been manifesting? And if you really want it, you got to lean in, you got to do the work, you got to let these tiny deaths happen, you got to let the energy of intensity move through you, and you've got to stand firm in your belief and in your faith of who you are and what you know you can do. And that's a really strong Capricorn energy, okay? So let that work for you and let that help you set the tone for the new year. Ask yourself, what do I really want? And am I embodying it by believing it, by thinking it, by speaking it, by moving with it, by living it? Because if you're not, you're going to see that phasing in and out of manifestations. And that is definitely not going to be fun, because it's going to be like a tease and it's going to be feeling a little frustrating and up and down. So if you're just, joining this reading, if you missed that beginning message about manifestations phasing in and out, make sure to go back to that, because that is really important right now. So make your choice, make the choice of what you want, choose what you want, and know that that thing that you're choosing, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be all, sunshine and rainbows. It's also going to have its own contrast. It's also going to have to be balanced in that way. So don't expect perfection, but choose what you want and commit to it. Because if you know that that's what you want, and you know that that's what you desire in your heart, and that's what's meant to be for you and your divine truth and your intuitive truth, then choose it and commit to it. Lean in, jump all in, go all in, and trust yourself. Trust yourself, okay? So this is really allowing us to step into who we are going to be for the next 20 years. So be specific and think about it really intensely and intuitively and consciously. Don't just decide, oh, I want, $20,000 and then not know what you're going to do with it or why you want it. Like, make it a deliberate asking. Ask for something deliberate. Really reflect on your life, reflect on who you've been for the last 20 years, and ask yourself, what do I want differently? What do I see for myself differently? What would I like to see for myself in the next 20 years? Choose those things, commit to them, believe in them, embody them, and the miracles will happen. And also, have unconditional love with it, knowing that it's not going to be easy. It's going to have its own ups and downs. It's going to have its own imperfections, but that's okay. We're in the 3D world, and that's what happens here. We need that balance of contrast to help us continue to evolve into the 5D, okay? So this is powerful energy. This is a really great journaling prompt too, to kind of ask yourself, what do I want for the next 20 years, and how can I embody more of that now? Right? Just in thoughts and emotions and environments and location. Some locations, actual physical locations, can kind of represent more of an old energy of you, and you're wanting to move into a new energy. So is there a new location you're being called to that represents that? Things like that. Or new friendships, new environments, new communities, new perspectives, new theories. Okay, allow yourself to let in the new. Let it in. and adapt to the changes as they happen because they're happening fast. Allow yourself to adapt. If you're feeling overwhelmed, then you're probably having a little bit of a shaky period of adapting. You're probably feeling a little awkward in that integration. Breathe through it. Give yourself some patience, give yourself some love, and know that you are going to move with that change if that's what you desire as you continue leaning into it, okay? All right, the last message on spirit message side, these are the messages I've gotten from my meditations, downloads, etc. The last message are the earthquakes and volcanoes. Yes, yes, yes. I've been talking about this all year on and off because the earthquakes and volcanoes have been intense. And I used to have dreams about this a couple of years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago. And my spirit guides kept giving me dreams of volcanoes and earthquakes and fire. And they said that this was going to happen, that this was going to happen eventually, that there was going to be this energy of intensity in Mother Earth and eruption of Mother Earth, and that it was going to shake things up for a deliberate reason, energetically, with the tectonic plates, with the ley lines on our electromagnetic frequency of the Earth. All of that is for a reason. So today I did a little research and I got a report of the earthquake and volcanic activity since Christmas Day, because on Christmas Day it got really heightened. We had earthquake in Hawaii, a volcano in Hawaii, volcano in Italy. We had a slew of earthquakes all over. I'm just going to name a couple of the places that I saw in that report of actual volcanic eruptions occurring right now. Hawaii, Mexico, Japan, southern Chile, Argentina, Antarctica, Italy, Ethiopia, Guatemala. Those were just some of them, okay? I literally had to stop writing down because there's just so many. But that just gives you an idea of how many earthquakes and volcanoes are actually happening right now since Christmas Day. And that was when that shift happened, okay? That whole week on that 21st to 25th was when all of that energy shifted. And so the tectonic plates in the earth also shifted from that astrological energy and shift in the Great Conjunction. And it's caused things to get shaken up. It's called volcanoes. It caused volcanoes and earthquakes all over the world. So pay attention to this. I will link the link of what I was researching in this description so you have a little place to start off from in your research. But keep an eye on this because this is Mother Earth also shifting with the Great Conjunction, and this is also going to show us a lot more about the energy as it unfolds if we pay attention to it, okay? So yeah, my dreams are definitely like manifesting from years ago when my guides were like, hey, pay attention once these things start happening, like stuff is going to get crazy. And I told you even a couple weeks ago, like things are about to get weird. And here we go. Things are getting weird. We've got the Galactic Federation, the government talking about the Galactic Federation in a very odd way, kind of a little bit of a, programmed way. We've got, those monoliths that kept showing up, and that was like an artist, kind of like bringing in this like ET kind of suspense and mystery. Then we've got all these earthquakes and things like that. We've got this crazy thing with the pandemic and the vaccines coming out and all of these kind of chaotic energies surrounding that. So, weird election, right? Like all of this stuff. Okay. So just know things are going to keep getting weird. It's just part of us seeing through the truth and getting to the truth from things kind of getting worse before they get better. And we're conscious beings. So we have to just remember that this is just part of the process, and we don't have to get in fear. We don't have to get in panic. We just want to observe. We want to laugh a little bit, and we want to say, okay, we know what's going on and we're ready for it all. Okay. So let's tap into the astrology now. To wrap up this reading, I'm not going to dive super, super deep into the Cancer full moon because I'm going to dive even more deep into it on Instagram at Readings by Rissa on the 29th or the 30th, depending, because Chad and I will be together and we'll be able to do a live moon chat then right there on my Instagram. So pay attention to my Instagram. Follow me at Readings by Rissa so that you can check my stories every day, and I will be posting probably today or tomorrow exactly what day and time Chad and I will be talking more about the Cancer full moon. But for now, a little pre-reading for the Cancer full moon. First of all, it's happening on the 29th in the States and on the 30th, December 30th, in other parts of the world. And the Cancer energy, let's talk a little bit about that, okay? Because we talked about the Capricorn energy. We're in Capricorn season. The sun is in Capricorn. The moon is in Cancer on the 29th and 30th. What does that mean? Well, Cancer signs, first of all, they're a water sign. So there's going to be a heightened energy and connection to our emotional body, whether that's a positive thing or a shadow thing. It really depends on what you need to experience with this full moon. So you'll maybe feel it in a different way. And it's a yang energy. The reason why I say it's a yang energy is because Cancers are born in the summer. They're born in July, June to July, late June to July. So there's this energy of that summertime, and the summertime is yang. It's all about kind of stepping into the light, acting on, your drives and ambitions more, more production, more movement, sunshine. All of that is all yang energy, okay? And so with that, we have this kind of motivation to move, and this motivation to act, and this motivation to produce and manifest. And that's what's really helping us phase those manifestations into reality even more, which is great. Now, with that, we also have this charming aspect of the Cancers. They're charming, they're social, and they're also sensitive. And sometimes the sensitivity can be hidden away, tucked away, or it can be channeled into creativity or into, intense expression, all sorts of things. And I also want to mention that sometimes that sensitivity, we can take things a little too personal when we have a Cancer moon. We may feel a little bit more attacked emotionally, or we may feel just a little bit more vulnerable emotionally. So pay attention to that too. Always check yourself if you're feeling like you're taking something personal. Ask yourself, okay, is this Cancer moon, or should I really be taking this personal? Is there a reason I'm taking it personal? Kind of just check in with yourself, investigate that energy a little bit, because it tends to get heightened in any Cancer moon or Cancer energy. And then there's also this energy of subtly egoic stuff. Sometimes the Cancer can get a little bit egoic, a little bit self-centered, a little bit selfish. So pay attention to that too. And I love you, Cancers, so don't think I'm judging you at all. But I always like to highlight, the divine qualities of the sign and the shadow qualities of the sign, so that we can really understand it, just like I did with the Capricorns. I love all of you guys, okay? And I have a Cancer moon as well. I think Kevin just said he has the Cancer moon. So yes, totally feeling that, taking things a little personally, feeling a little bit vulnerable and uncomfortable in that. Even our emotional shadow side can really be peaked during a Cancer full moon. So be patient with yourself, watch out for those things, stay humble, stay compassionate, stay in a place of being gentle with yourself and others through that emotional sensitivity, and use that emotional sensitivity to work your charm, work your charisma, express creatively, channel it into things that will actually be useful to you instead of destructive, okay? Now, a couple of the astrological influences of this Cancer moon on the 29th and 30th is a trine with Uranus. So it's making a triangle with the sun, moon, and Uranus. And Uranus is a ruler of Aquarius. So this also kind of validates more of what a lot of people have been feeling is the age of Aquarius, and that we are stepping into it. And a lot of people actually believe that we started the age of Aquarius just last week with that great conjunction, because that Jupiter-Saturn conjunction was in 1 degree of Aquarius. So this is an energy of, are we in the Aquarian age? Are we in the age of Aquarius? And if so, what does that mean? Well, there's a lot of things that people have talked about what the age of Aquarius means. It means this essence of transcendence, of evolution, of ascension, of honoring our unique qualities and stepping into our mastery of it and expression of it for the betterment of the world. It's this ability to be uniquely free in our sovereign power and connection to source. And there's a lot of positivity associated with the Aquarian age. And so if we are in the Aquarian age, which I haven't really felt sure of yet, I will definitely let you know when my guides validate that or not. But they're kind of just telling me to observe first, because there's going to be certain things that happen in our experience that will actually validate that when it's time. But right now we're in a state of observance. It may feel stagnant, but it's more of a patience as we allow the energy to transition, because the Aquarian age really depends on the mass collective. Even though we might see it astrologically, the mass collective actually has to integrate it in order for us to step into it fully in our world, in our reality. So this energy of the trine with Uranus is kind of a representation of that Aquarian age showing up, and it really represents freedom from fear. So it's about choosing faith over fear, again from last week, and getting really investigative about the fears that show up, and getting inquisitive about what you can do to clear the fear and choose faith over fear and free yourself from fear through your higher mind perspective, okay? Then we have a square to Chiron on the full moon in Cancer as well. And this is all about healing the emotional body, okay? It's about allowing ourselves to ground in our most charismatic self, our most aware self, our most conscious self with our mind, and finding new ways to be seen for our talents and recognized for our talents, and stepping into our leadership and our power in our ability to express our gifts. So this is a beautiful, beautiful full moon in Cancer that we're stepping into, and many of you are probably already feeling it. So allow yourself to align to that, because that is going to be a really beautiful way to heal and embody the divine essence of this Cancer full moon, okay? A couple of other astrological influences. Again, on the 29th, we have some holistic healing energy with that Cancer full moon, with that Chiron square, and just this energy of the Cancer. So I encourage all of you to tap into your holistic healing. If you don't know what holistic healing is, or you need some good examples or ideas or suggestions for holistic healing, definitely review my Shining Light on Holistic Healing series event that I did all the way back, I believe, in September. That was a powerful, powerful series where I got tons of luminaries together, all with different expertise, to talk about holistic healing, their journey with it, and their actual work to serve the world and teaching about their version of holistic healing. So that can be a really great resource. We even did a breath work. We did a sound bath meditation. We had a mental health lecture. We talked about women's health, and we talked about creation. I mean, there's just so many amazing things in that holistic healing event, and it is saved as a playlist on this channel for you to go back and enjoy anytime. So I definitely encourage revisiting that for the full moon in Cancer on the 29th and 30th, because that is going to really help us step into that healing holistically of our emotional body that the Cancer moon is helping us with. Then on the 30th, we have Venus squares Neptune, which is encouraging us to act on our creativity and our spiritual connection, and really allowing ourselves to evolve in our sense of beauty and pleasure, and to really tap into that in all forms, whatever that means to you. Let that beauty and pleasure of Venus kind of connect to that higher mind dreaminess of Neptune, and see where that takes you, okay? And then the last astrological influence I want to talk to you about is New Year's Day, 1/1/21, and that is when I will be doing the New Year's reading, where I'll pull a card for every single month of 2021, and that will happen at 11:11 a.m. Central Time on New Year's Day, 1/1/21, okay? And the astrological influence with that is that, first of all, the numerological aspect of that date is 7, which means that we're taking the first steps towards our spiritual evolution. 7 representing spiritual growth, spiritual evolution, and of course the 1/1 of the New Year's Day representing our stepping into new beginnings and new spiritual enlightenment, a heightened level of consciousness, okay, which is also representative of the Aquarian age. So maybe we are in the Aquarian age. What do you guys think? But then on that day, we also have Mercury sextiling Neptune, which is going to help us communicate more of our dreams and aspirations, more of our dreamy energy and awareness, more of our spiritual expression and consciousness. And it's really encouraging us to ask and to step into more of how we are expressing the essence of the divine, okay? How we are expressing the essence of the divine. That will happen on New Year's Day. So we're going to talk more about that when I go live at 11 a.m. Central Time on New Year's Day for a reading of all of the months of 2021, so we can get a nice clear picture in general, a bigger picture perspective of what 2021 is going to have to offer us. So I really hope that you all join me for that reading as well. All right, those were all of the astrological influences and all of my spirit messages. How are all of you feeling? It's just such a powerful energy. I can't even really like speak about it. I'm just like, oh, like if I stop my flow, I just start to feel the energy, and it's just so exciting. It's just really exciting. Yeah, like Marie said, you know, so excited. Yes. So before we pull cards to end this reading, I just want to give you a few announcements for this week so that you all are really clear on what we're doing this week, and you can feel into, you know, everything that we're shifting into. So a couple of reminders: 2021 reading New Year's Day, 11 a.m. Central Time, live right here on this channel. Then I'm going to also be doing next week's reading at 10 a.m. Central Time, again, just like today, because I'm traveling. It's just a little easier for me. So make sure to join early for me on that day so we can all connect live. And then I'm also going to be doing a New Year's cacao ceremony. This is going to be really exciting. If you don't know what cacao is, it is a ceremonial drinking chocolate. It is this connection to the earth and to Mother Gaia, and this essence of nurturance from the earth, and this really deep, grounded energy that it provides. And it's delicious as well. It's a very mild plant medicine, but it opens up the heart space. It's very similar to, you know, like a I don't know what it's similar to, honestly. It's just so unique, but it's very mild. It's like, I mean, I drink it like coffee almost every morning, but it's a very mild chocolate. It comes from Peru or Guatemala, and all over the place as well, in very indigenous lands. And I am going to be hosting a New Year's cacao ceremony, and it's going to happen on 1/10/21. Okay, see what I'm doing with the numbers here? 1/10/21. And that's going to be at 11 a.m. Central Time until 1 o'clock Central Time. So it'll happen right before the weekly reading of that week. So this will be really fun. I wanted to do an early one, a morning one, because last time I did an evening one, and I know I've got a lot of amazing luminaries out in the UK and other parts of the world who've been requesting that I do one a little bit earlier in the day so that they can join. So that it's not like 2 a.m. where they're at. So I thought it would be a really nice way to start the day and to start the year with a cacao ceremony. So we'll do some meditation, we'll do some sharing, we'll do some connecting to cacao. We'll have cacao help open our hearts so that we can step more into faith over fear, and we'll really have cacao kind of help us manifest what we want for the new year. So that's going to be kind of the tone of the event and what I'm going to be leading you through. We'll do some journal entries and some visualizations and all sorts of stuff. So it's going to be really, really fun. So mark your calendars: 1/10/21, 11 a.m. Central Time to 1 o'clock Central Time, okay? And then the last thing I want to announce is that I am providing a 6-month forecast special, holiday special. This is an opportunity for you to get on a call with me, and I will pull cards for your next 6 months, and we'll go over what your next 6 months are going to look like. I'll connect intuitively as well and give you messages that way. It's a 45-minute reading, and it's a really great price. It's usually priced at $99, but for this holiday special until 1/11, I'm pricing it at $77. So I'm giving you $22 off that reading, just so that all of you can really get a nice picture of what the next 6 months is going to entail for you personally. So if you're interested in that, or if you want to gift that to somebody for the holidays, that can be a really great way to serve and to also serve yourself. All right, so reach out to me if you're interested in that reading. You can email me, readingsbyrissa@gmail.com. You can also Instagram DM me at readingsbyrissa, or I will put the link in the description of how to schedule it directly, okay? And once you schedule it, I'll send you the invoice and we'll be ready to go, all right? Let's go ahead and pull cards for the end of this reading. How are you all feeling? We've got 22 people watching. We got 12 likes. I'm seeing 2212. What a cool number, especially as we step into 2021. And we're in the month of December 12. So super cool numerology right there. Let's go ahead and feel into the beginning of the week. I'm going to use my beautiful spirit messages deck. All right, and feel free as I'm pulling these cards to ask Spirit for your own little message and clarity and guidance that you may need, because I guarantee you these will be pretty synchronistic if you ask for some guidance. All right, I've got the middle of the week card just pulled. I'm feeling a lot of this feeling with the Angels deck, which is my first deck that I've ever gotten. They've been so active for me as we shift into this new energy. So let's see what they have for the end of the week. And then I'll also pull a full moon card. They're being choosy. Let me ask a little more specifically. End of the week. There it goes. All right. And then let's see. All right. First person to comment on which deck to pull from for the moon card. We can have the Isis deck. We can have the Mother Mary deck. Mary Magdalene. I'm sorry, not Mother Mary, but Mary Magdalene. So Isis, Mary Magdalene, or Angels of Atlantis. First person to comment which one to pull for the moon. There it is, Robbie. Robbie's got us at Mary. It's so funny you guys came in at the same time. Marie and Nico and Robbie came in almost at the same time, but Robbie beat you guys. So we're doing the Mary Magdalene deck for the Cancer moon. Alrighty, let's see what we got. First card of the week from the Spirit Messages deck. Take a moment. Take a moment and breathe, y'all. That's what I was trying to say. Take a moment and breathe. When you're feeling tense or chaotic, or you're feeling those tests from the universe, or you're feeling those tiny deaths, take a moment. Just take a moment. Stop everything you're doing. Breathe. Center yourself. The card itself says stop. Now is not the time to rush into a decision that you're about to make. Remember, we're not forcing or controlling things or rushing things. Before this important decision is made, take a moment to pause and quiet your mind so that you can ask your soul for guidance before you act or move forward. Remember, we're talking about making big life decisions. We're talking about choosing what we want and stepping into it. But we have to be clear on what we want. We have to be clear on that choice. We have to know that our soul is aligned to that choice and is encouraging that choice. So take a moment, quiet your mind, breathe, and then ask. Ask what to do. And you'll get the answer. And if you don't get the answer yet, then don't rush anything. Wait for it. Wait for it, okay? Middle of the week card is Circles, and it says clarity begins in the eye of the storm. This is our beautiful lantern deck for the middle of the week. Circles. This is about really stepping into the awareness that we are in the eye of the storm. There's a lot of things that are chaotic happening around us and within us. But I promise you that chaos is going to settle, and it is going to provide clarity, and it's going to provide growth, because that chaos is simply just a representation of us being in between two worlds and stepping into our new essence of self. So we've got to go through those tests. We've got to go through those tiny deaths. It's going to feel a little chaotic and awkward. Remember, we're superheroes, new superheroes getting their new gifts and new powers, and that's going to cause a little bit of a storm for all of us. But the clarity comes through that, and it really begins there, and we unify in oneness and Christ consciousness when we step into that awareness of clarity coming from the eye of the storm. And then the end of the week card is Nature. Connect to your natural self, your truth. Remember, honoring your truth, living your truth. This is also connecting to Mother Earth and recognizing the shifts that are happening on Mother Earth with all those volcanoes and earthquakes. So we may see even more of that showing up towards the end of the week to give us a little insight on how Mama Gaia is shifting through things. So honor the earth, go outside, send love to Mother Earth as she shifts with us as well, okay? All right, our full moon in Cancer card from the Mary Magdalene deck as as requested by Robbie, who got to it first. The Matrix card. We saw this a couple of weeks ago. This is again reminding us that we are stepping out of the matrix. We're being called to step out of the matrix. Some of us aren't stepping out, but I encourage you to step out of it if you're being called to it, because the matrix of this world, of this 3D reality, is limiting. It's limiting. So if we can stand in our awareness of how we've been limited, or how we've been held back, or how we've been programmed by the matrix, we start to step out of the matrix and into our own realization of what we can create and manifest in our lives. So this Cancer full moon that we're going to have is really going to help us have the opportunity to step out of the matrix and into more of a manifestation matrix of our own deciding. Okay. Really powerful. So again, quick review. Take a moment in the beginning of the week, quiet your mind, breathe through anything you're experiencing, especially if those things you're experiencing are the eye of the storm or some chaos. Know that it's okay, that these circles or these loopings of experiences are showing us something important and are helping us to find clarity. And then in the end of the week, honor your natural self, honor your truth, honor nature itself and Mother Gaia as it transitions through all of these times as well. And then for the full moon in Cancer, are you going to step out of the matrix? Are you going to align to your Christ consciousness? What does that mean for you? What do you really want for the next 20 years? How are you going to embody it? Okay, that's our Cancer full moon. How are you all feeling? What a powerful reading. It was a little longer than I anticipated. I hope that was okay for you, but it was super important for us to get these messages out for the last week of 2020. Oh my gosh. So hopefully I see you all next on New Year's Day, 11:11 a.m. Central Time live. We are going to pull a card for every single month of 2021 to see what 2021 has in store for us. That is going to be so fun. So make sure you mark your calendars 1/1/2021 at 11:11 a.m. That's a lot of ones, y'all. So don't forget. I love you all so much. Oh my gosh, that dab emoji is so cute, Nico. What? I want one of those. That was so cute. All right, loves, thank you so much for joining me. Please send this reading to anybody you feel may benefit from it. Please, please, please like this reading, share this reading, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, tap the bell for notifications so that you can make sure that you catch it. Oh, my love is here. Hi, Chad. I get to see you in like an hour. So exciting. All right, loves. So thank you for joining again. I love you all so much, and I will see you next week. Don't forget, 10:10 a.m. Central Time next week. We're doing it early again. So I'll see you then, okay? Love you all, and have a wonderful week and a really great new year. I'll see you New Year's Day.